So if you're anything like me, you have been playing Masters for quite a while and you're coming right back to it with Fusion World. And honestly, not a bad idea. I think it's going to be a great game. I think the events are going to start out very strong and we already see some crazy prices. But when it comes down to it, it is the gameplay, it is the game itself, and a lot of mechanics that you need to know as far as the differences from Masters and Fusion World. So today I'm going to go through those, and if I miss anything, definitely let me know in the comments below. This is for my OGs. So the first obvious thing that when you start playing is going to be no negates. And more specifically, there is no counter step. There is no negates. There's no stopping a combo coming at your face. But when it comes down to it, it does take some getting used to, right? It does take a little bit of the flow of the game from Masters into Fusion World. A lot of it just really comes down to, hey, okay, now I have to expect all the combo and things coming at me, and you have to value the cards in your hand more. You really have to value the things out of your hand because there are no things that stop the turn. There are no floodgates. There is no blue Hatchiyak to say no to everything, which I'm very glad that Cooler got banned, by the way. I just wanted to throw that one out there. In correlation to that, there are no counterplays. There are no counterplays, no things that actually tell you that there's a window to do something. Sure, there might be some responses and triggers and things like that that we might see in the future, which I don't think we've actually seen in the first set. Nothing like actually complicated. A lot of the things are just activate mains and your turn, opponent's turn, both turns kind of activate battles. And I think that's a huge importance on Fusion World. It is just the combo step, the things that make the game simple, and really took a lot of the simpler things out of Masters into this game. With no counterplays, we now don't have to worry about counter timing as far as before or after an activate main, or being played or as played or whatever, which is a huge relief, honestly. And this video might be a whole thing to Fusion World, and if I prefer it, but it's not really. I think Masters is still one of the best mechanically cool games out there, and I think Fusion World has a different audience, and as well as just if you're a Masters player, it's just a little bit more relaxing. Next up is the secret rares. So now they are 4 ofs, or at least you can have up to a playset of 4. All the secret rares are now more similar to Digimon and as well as One Piece, both in ratios and as well as their intention. There are currently 2 different secret rares in the first set, and that's probably going to be the thing for every set. We have the Gohan and Goku, which is just Gohan, Father-Son Kamehameha, and while it has a really good effect where you can basically board wipe everything 5 or less, it's not so much of the thing of literally any other SCR that we've seen in Masters. If it wasn't already obvious, the amount of text is vastly different from Masters to Fusion World. So, when it comes down to the secret rares, it should be kind of the same thing when you think about it. Being able to play 4 of this Gohan or even the Goku, the UI Goku, both of them have like relatively good effects. It's just not Dragon Fist, ignore barrier, untap 1, play for 2, have 2 in your combo type of secret rare, which, hey, the art is really good. I really like that card. Anyway, I don't really expect them to be at like Masters prices as far as like being $100, $200, $300 at certain points of the meta or like during events and things like that for them to fluctuate. However, I do think they're going to be between $50 to $100 each, which means if you need a playset, which sometimes like in One Piece or for Digimon, you kind of need a playset in order to play an archetype, it's going to get a little expensive. All right, moving on. One of the biggest things for this is that we do have a digital client coming, and every single pack now has digital codes. I think I've seen this every so often as far as different marketplaces and things like that of how much they're going to cost. I think I've seen like 25 cents to $1 for each code, that type of thing. And it's similar to Pokemon. I think Pokemon has like similar numbers, but I don't play. From what I understand is that you do get these codes and you do get gems, which the client should be in the next couple weeks actually from this video. And you actually do get enough gems in order to get a pack in order to open. So for instance, if you buy a booster pack, that QR code or whatever code you redeem is going to be enough gems to get that same pack digitally. Same thing for starter decks, and same thing for I don't know, probably like expansions and things like that. We won't know until we see it in a couple weeks, but I believe that's how everything is being presented on their website. By the way, there are no more SPRs. So now we have alternate arts, which we have it for leaders, rares, super rares, and secret rares, I believe. I don't know if they're going to continue that trend to have alternate arts for so many rarities, but it is nice because it does, you know, create some value. A lot of the time for these TCGs, and as well as Bad Night TCGs, they'll end up having support for stuff later on. So if something is generically pretty good right now, it's probably good to get the alternate art of that rare or that secret rare or super rare if it's a lower price and not so strong right now. I think this is a pretty decent way to have an alternative to the SPRs in the way that we've done it before, but we still have, you know, tournament pricing and things like that as well to come. Which, by the way, I do think for Fusion World, it's going to have a lot less pricing than Masters. We already see the 20 packs or 20 sleeves for a pack and not so crazy pricing compared to Masters as well. So I guess you can add that as another point. Next up is the energy marker. So in Dragon Ball and a couple other Bandai games, I think going first is probably the best thing you can do for a lot of the time. But with One Piece, and as well as this game, it's kind of shifting to going second. And the biggest reason for that is because of the energy marker. Now, the energy marker can be the same color or is the same color as your leader. So if you're playing a blue leader, it's going to be a blue energy marker. It can be counted for those specified energy. And the thing about the energy marker is that going second allows you to get to higher things. So for instance, if you're going into green and you wanted to play Dr. Giroux's lab, you can now get to 4 very early and then replace that energy immediately because those energy markers go away as soon as you use them. Which I think that's one of the reasons why green is so good, or at least, you know, going to be geared to be a pretty decent color. Speaking of, green is now ramp. It's one of the weirdest things that, you know, obviously we've seen things from Gen Con and all the trial decks, and then the starter decks got revealed within the last few months as well, and we saw green, right? But this also means that, you know, the blue's identity now is tied to currently Vegeta, where you have 7 or less cards in hand, and then bounce and bottom effects, which is correlated to Masters. Is just that now we don't really have ramp with like set 1 and 2 objection and things like that in Masters. Instead, now green has Broly, has Gohan, has 17 and 18, has the Android archetypes and things like that, and now has this culmination of ramp things. Very weird, but it is something to get used to and probably more akin to Magic and other card games. And the last couple things is deck count. So if you didn't know, we do have now up to 60 going out of the gate for this card game. So 50 to 60 for a deck. I think probably maybe in the future when we get black, we'll have some more mill strategies and things that remove itself from the deck. I think green might be there kind of as you have more filtering abilities and things that you can play from the drop and recursion. However, I think right now probably sticking to 50 to 52 is still the most optimal thing, just like how you would do in Masters, depending on the deck, of course. Now the last couple things is one, it plays like the first couple sets of Dragon Ball in Masters, right? One of the things I keep hearing over and over when I ask other people, have you played Dragon Ball and are going to be playing Fusion World? The first thing that they say is that, yeah, I tried it out and then I stopped playing. And then when I ask, when did you stop playing? And the answer is almost always set 3 and 4. And I'm very apprehensive of seeing what happens with set 3 and 4 for this game. But the cool thing is that I think what Bandai really did is take all the cool things about Dragon Ball, put it and simplified it, and then made a meta and sort of like obviously the first set, but of the first 2 sets and how Masters played. Now, the thing about it is that you got to realize that Masters was actually never intended to be a long-standing card game. We're in this, 25th, 26th set now, and it was never supposed to get to that point. It was supposed to be maybe 3 or 4 sets as a promotional item, but we kind of took that a little bit further, and then I spent 3 or 4 years making content about it. So it's very interesting to see the evolve from a very simple game into now Fusion World that puts a little bit more complication, a little bit more thought, and a lot more fun, to be honest. Those are the major things that I would probably be saying. I'm probably missing a couple things here and there, but if I did, let me know in the comments below. But from one Masters player to another, as I transition into Fusion World, and as well as maybe dabble a couple things here and there in Masters. I don't know how many people still watch Dragon Ball content on this channel, but I'm trying my best to keep up with it, and as well as do this when I have time. But if you do want to see more Masters content, and as well as Fusion content, let me know in the comments below what you want to see, and I'll see you in the next one.